Today I'm going to be showing you how to sew on hand sew a snap for projects where you need a snap but don't want to use the plastic snap kit. So this would be the top and the bottom, but you don't want to use that snap kit. So you're going to hand sew your snaps. And snaps come in all different sizes, and that's based on, as you can see here, your type of fabric, but also the project that you're doing. And they typically come on a card like this, and they're basically snapped onto that card. So you have a top and a bottom. Your snap has two pieces. One piece is flat with a raised bump in the middle. The other one has a bump on the bottom section and is a little thicker and rounded. And you want to be sure that you sew this side, or the female side, to where the indentation goes down, not pokes up. So you're going to first measure to put your snap, and what I like to do is measure how far in I want from the edge and mark it and try to find where that would be in the center. I'm going to go just a little bit more, and I usually just put a dot of some kind. And then you want to do it on the same, on the opposite end. There, on my center, put my dot or my mark, and then I just kind of make sure that those are the same distance. Because if you get your snaps off-centered, then your fabric is going to snap incorrectly. So I always start and put this is my top flap. I put my male portion of my snap on the bottom piece and my female on the top, so that it snaps into the male portion. And when you have a project you're hand sewing, this is double layered. I don't want to stitch all the way through because I don't want my stitches to show. So I'm going to find my dot, which is right here. I'm going to put my snap, center it, and I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to come through just the top layer of fabric. And I'm using red. You would normally use a thread color that would match your project. And you're just going to stitch all the way around those 4 holes. And see, my thread is not on the bottom part, so I know I'm just going through that top layer. And I like to do about 3 stitches, 3 to 4 stitches on each of those holes. And I say that because you don't want this shifting on you. So when I'm ready to move to the second section of holes, I put my needle in, underneath my fabric, and come up in that second hole. And then you just stitch to where it's around about 3 or 4 times. And the more you do of these, the faster you get. And then I put my needle in, come up in that second one, kind of double check, make sure I haven't gone through my other layer, and go all the way around. I'm just going to do a couple so that I can get to the other section. Whoops. That one I did catch, so you just pull your thread out. It's a little tricky. So I'm going to remove those stitches that I caught and went all the way through, and then I'll come show you how to do your top part. Now I've got my bottom snap part put on, and I'm ready to do my top. And what I've done here is I've taken 2 straight pins and I've kind of positioned so that this part of my snap doesn't shift on me when I start stitching. You can see I got a little bit off center here, so I'm just compensating with it this way, and it kind of, because they're kind of finicky to hold and get stitched on. So I've started, those pins are going to just kind of hold it in place take another stitch here, and I've made sure that my top part of my snap is indented in rather than the post sticking up, because otherwise they will not snap together. And I'm going to come over to the second hole where that pin is. I'm going to leave that pin in place until I get about 2 or 3 stitches into it. And you should have enough room to just kind of go around both the pin and the snap. Now I can remove that pin, and that snap part is not going to shift on me. Again, checking to make sure I'm not going through on the back side of my fabric. I'm just going through that one layer. And I'm going to go through the next hole, put a couple of stitches here. Try not to poke yourself with that pin. Take the last pin out and go to that last hole. And if you go to the front side of your fabric, if you're using a coordinating thread, those stitches will not show usually. They would if they're red, of course, but if this was a blue thread, you wouldn't even notice. Then to tie it off, I want that knot to be kind of underneath my snap. So I take my needle and I take just a tiny stitch. I put my thread underneath my needle, pull it through that loop and make a knot. And I'm going to do that at least 2 or 3 times to secure that knot on the side of my snap. And then clip my thread and then snap it together. And there it is. You don't see a snap like you would when you use the snap kit, so it's a real clean position of your snap, but it works the same. I hope this helps you understand how to put a sew-on snap on your project.